G'day and welcome to setting up WSL Docker and VS Code on Windows 11. Let's get into it. So today's main goal is to get Gazebo working on your Windows 11 computer. Gazebo is an open source simulator that's really great at just simulating stuff and is often used in conjunction with ROS robotics. So let's go through the steps to do it. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to install WSL or set it up. So open a command prompt. So just go Windows and command prompt, and that should come up. And what you're going to do is we're just going to type in sort of three commands. First one, wsl.exe set version Ubuntu 2 is going to tell the computer we want to use WSL2 with Ubuntu. And then we're just going to dash update to check for any updates. It'll ask you for your admin, and that's fine. Oh, and we've got an update. And that'll just download real quick. And once that's finished, it should say it's done. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go wsl.exe install. And that will install WSL if it's not already installed, and then launch it. And so now here we are in a command window, which is the next thing we're going to need. Great. So now what we've got is a terminal, a Linux terminal inside of our Windows computer. This is really excellent. And what we're going to do is we're going to clone the repo. So we're going to clone the workspace with the command git clone, and I'm just going to right click to paste the URL for the workspace. We're going to clone the 4Robots workspace. And this should be pretty handy. It's a really handy template that you can use. Next, we're going to cd into the 4Robots. So cd means change directory. And here we are. And now what we're going to do is going to type code space dot. What this will do is open up a VS Code window. Okay, so if all goes well, you should see this window. This is the VS Code window. And if you look along the side here, all of these things are all the folders that are inside of our Linux. We're going to leave this for a moment and set up Docker. And then we're going to come back to this window and start using it. Okay, so you need to open up Docker, and when you open it, it should show you a screen that looks a bit like this. This is telling you about the Docker containers that are running, and if you've used Docker before, like I have, you might see a few names of things. What we need to do is we need to double check that our settings are correct. Otherwise, we might have a lot of trouble getting Docker to work inside of the WSL. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Settings, and then we're going to go to Resources, and then we're going to go to WSL integration. And what you need to do is to make sure that both of these things are checked. So let's make sure that enable integration with my default WSL distro is checked, and also make sure that enable integration with Ubuntu is checked. And then we're going to hit apply and restart. This will help you avoid errors that you might get where next when we open a dev container, it might claim to not have a valid Docker, and that's because the Docker needs to be added to each of the WSLs that you're using. Hopefully you won't run into that issue, but if you do, come back and check here. This is lots of people have run into this same problem. Okay, great. Now let's go back over to the VS Code window. Now you see down the bottom here something talks about dev containers. That's because I've already got the dev container extension set up. But if you're brand new to this, you may not have that ready. So let's go and figure out how to set that up. You can go to extensions on the side here, and then we're going to look in the search box, type dev containers. And then you're going to see a big list, and you want to choose the one at the very top. Click on it, dev containers, and then here it says uninstall, but for you it will probably say install. You want to install the dev container extension. This is very important because this is what allows a lot of our magic to stitch together between Docker, Ubuntu, Linux. It all kind of hinges on this dev containers extension, so please install it. Okay, great. Now that you've installed dev containers, we can go Control-Shift-P, and we can go dev, and we can type dev containers. You can see here as I type, it starts to autocomplete. It may not autocomplete this case for you, but what we want to do is we want to autocomplete open folder in container. And eventually, if it comes up, I mean, obviously it's came up for me, but for you, it might take a few more typings. This is the one you want. You want to open the folder which we're in a dev container. So we're going to click that now. And you can see here /home/johnv/4robots. This is the Linux directory file system, not the Windows one. So that's why it doesn't say like users like you normally see in Windows. Home John V is my username in Linux, and for robots is how it is. So I'm going to hit OK. All right, and now what will happen is there'll be a little thing down the bottom here, which is going to read the configuration. And it might take some time. You might have, it'll probably download the containers and it'll do a whole lot of stuff. But what should happen and how you know you're ready is that you'll see down the bottom here, it'll be green. It'll say dev container, 4 robots in 4 weeks, but I might change that later. Ross Humble, there'll be a little terminal down here. If you don't have the terminal, you can go up to the top, hit terminal, new terminal to show the terminal. If you don't like terminals, you can just click this X to get rid of them. But trust me, terminals are great. We're going to keep one around. And so this is now we've got a uh, Linux system living inside of our Windows 11 computer. Okay, great. So now that we've gone and done that, it's time to try and run Gazebo. So what we're going to do is we're going to Control Shift P, and instead of doing dev container, because we're already in the dev container, we're going to go tasks colon run task. And because we want to run a predefined task that I've made just for you so you can get started really quick. So I'm going to hit run task. And now there's a whole lot of choices. And I want you to choose day 2 Gazebo. It is a hangover from the 5-day course. If you've done that course, you'll kind of know what we're about to do. I'm going to hit day 2 Gazebo. And then you'll see something cool. This just happened to me, and sometimes it might happen to you. When you open Gazebo, it'll look this garbled mess. Unfortunately, the best solution I've found is to restart Windows. Something about how Windows connects to the GUIs for Linux is broken, but a restart seems to clear it out. So if you have this, just restart your computer. Okay, cool. So all going well, you should find yourself with your own running Gazebo simulation. And this is the end. I want you to just play around with this. Getting to this marks an achievement. You've managed to get your system set up and ready in many ways for doing the course. But if you want to play around with Gazebo, it's pretty cool. So you can scroll wheel to zoom in and out. You can hold the mouse wheel down and then move it around to rotate. If you click on these boxes, you get some detail about them. You'll notice there's a little play button, and that starts the simulation. So something that I like to do just to be a bit of a silly man is I like to pick these boxes up, or maybe pick this guy up using this translate tool. In fact, you can also rotate stuff. So we click on this rotate mode. We can rotate this box, and you know what? Maybe I'm just gonna zoom it out over here. And now I'm just going to hit play, and you can see that it rolls around and it's sort of simulating the physics of, and while I do that, it's pretty cool. So this is just a way of this is our simulator, our physics-based simulator for our robot. You can see that fell over. It's just really fun. Play around with it. You can look here. There's a thing here. You can get a whole bunch of different add-ons and plugins. It may not make sense to you now, but it could be fun to play with. You can right-click in this entity tree. You can go and change the view. Perhaps you want to see it as a wireframe. That's pretty cool. Sometimes you might want to see its collisions or its center of mass. So you can play around with these things. I encourage you to do that. All right. Thanks very much. And see you next time.